Welcome to Up the Turnpike. In today's video, we're doing a segment called Who Says No, where we look at 3 different trades made through the cap-friendly RIP Armchair GM feature to see what side, the Islanders or the other side, says no. And it's a fun little exercise to see what people out there think they can get from the New York Islanders and what the New York Islanders can get in return. Now, these aren't trades made by New York Islanders fans, so I haven't gone under the cap-friendly GM, Armchair GM, and just looked at Islanders teams, right? I haven't isolated for that. I've looked at other teams who have made trades with the Islanders. I've picked up 3 different ones that we want to look at to see what we like and what we don't like. So the first one up here, a trade made with the Toronto Maple Leafs, where we send Noah Dobson, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, Semyon Varlamov, and a 2025 first round pick, so first round next year, for Kelly Yarncroke, David Kampf, the RFA rights to Timothy Liljegren, Mitch Marner, and the RFA rights to Nick Robertson. Now, right away, hard sell Noah Dobson. That in and of itself is going to be a hard sell for the New York Islanders, specifically because in this trade, we aren't getting a Noah Dobson level player back. I get that we're getting Timothy Liljegren back here, but let's be honest, Timothy Liljegren is not at the level of Noah Dobson, right? The swap here, the star swap, or the quality that Toronto is receiving is Noah Dobson. They need right-handed, more offensive, I guess, defenseman. I would argue that the Toronto Maple Leafs need someone more offensive. I would argue against that, but still, that's what they feel like they need. So that's the star power they're getting from us. In return, we get Mitch Marner, basically. That's not the 1-for-1, clearly, but that's where they're seeing things. And then they pitch a bunch of junk at us. Honestly, no disrespect to the person who made this, but you're pitching a bunch of junk at us. Kalle Järnkrok, David Kampf, that's just not moving the needle at all. They're older players. We're trying to get a little bit younger. I get that they give us Timothy Liljegren and Nick Robertson, who are younger players, but they're not really stepping up here. Also, we lose a goalie. The Islanders have lost a goalie. They lose Semyon Varlamov, right? Semyon Varlamov is gone. Who's replacing him? I know that the person at home probably thinks, well, Jakub Skarek, right? They don't know the Islanders, and that's totally fair. Totally fair. You shouldn't have to know the third string goalie on every team. That's fine. But me as an Islander fan saying, like, we don't have a backup goalie here, that's kind of a problem. I guess maybe Marcus Hilberg could do it, maybe. But there's a reason he's just signing with the Islanders now and no one else type of thing. And why he went over to Sweden for a bit. So stuff to prove there with Hilberg. So I would say right away, it was a no. Just seeing Noah Dobson's name going to Toronto. I get why. But seeing Noah Dobson and then Semyon Varlamov in that, loose lines the phone here. That's a big no for the Islanders. So let me bring up the second trade here. Now, again, these are different trades. They're not going to be for the same thing both all 3 times. So this trade, as you can see, something completely different here. We're getting nothing back. But we send Anders Lee, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, a 2025 4th-round pick, and a 2026, one in 2 years, that's 2 years away, 1st-round pick. So obviously, major cap dump, right? Like that's the attraction here by the Islanders. They dump $12 million worth of salary. Gone off the books, right? There's no money held by the Islanders here. There's no retention. That is straight Lee's salary sent, Jean-Gabriel Pageau's salary sent is gone. We've got $12 million on the books. The big deal for me here, because obviously we have said it multiple times on the show, so sign up to the Patreon to see our thoughts on most of these things. We've said that Anders Lee and Jean-Gabriel Pageau are on the chopping block. If you can move both, great. Not that we don't like them, but it is time to move on. Yada, yada, yada. Sign up to the show type of thing. It's that 1st-round pick where I'm going, I don't want to lose a pick 2 years from now. I don't know what the heck is going to happen in 2 years from now, right? So I would ideally change that to a 2nd-round pick this year, maybe. I'd be fine with that. I'm just not sure that Chicago would be fine with that. I think in this scenario, Chicago probably says no. Just because I'm changing it from a 2026 first to a 2024 second. And so in the auspices of the trade as it stands, as it was created by the user, I think the Islanders say no. My amendment, I think the Chicago Blackhawks say no. Maybe. I'm not for sure on that, but maybe. Trade number 3. Again, totally different here, but I'm saying like, but I'm using that. You'll see what I'm saying. It is a trade with the Calgary Flames where we send a 2024 first, a 2024 second, and a conditional 2025 third that could become a second if we win one playoff round for Andrei Kuzmenko at 45% retained, 46, I believe, if you round up, and a 2024 first from Vancouver. The first round pick swap, we would move back another 8 spots to pick 28th overall while moving Calgary up 20 spots to 20 overall. But we get Kuzmenko. And I get that Calgary is trying to sell high here on Kuzmenko. He's had 2 years in the NHL. First year with Vancouver, scored 39 goals. Let me get the actual stats here on Hockey Reference, and we can kind of look at that and stipulate where we're like hum and haw, if you will, on it. Going, well, I don't know. Kuzmenko. I had the page up earlier. There it is. Let me zoom in on just his stats from this past year. Whoa, that zoomed in way too much, Mitch. Okay, close the ad. Don't need to see that. Holy cow, the ads. I get it, Hockey Reference. Yes, hide that. There we go. Okay, switch it over. Clearly, I'm looking at a lot of hockey cards right now. So, in his first year with Vancouver, 39 goals in 81 games, 74 points. Super good as a 26-year-old. 27-year-old season, not so great at 46 and 72, but most of that not so greatness was with Vancouver, right? He scored 21 points, 43 games, basically a half point per game player. Then when he goes to Calgary, who wasn't very good, mind you, 25 points, 14 goals in 29 games. Those 14 and 29 pace out to 39.5 goals over a full 82-game season. So he was basically playing at his same form when he was in Vancouver. So that's why I hum and haw about it. I go, okay, well, it's a guy who doesn't have a lot of experience. 153 games played at the NHL level. But we've seen him in those 2 years now effectively play as a 40-goal scorer. Not just a 30-goal scorer, 40-goal scorer. He is 28 years old, so he's a little bit older. His trajectory growing up, I should say. He had a couple of years in the KHL where he just didn't do that well. Good enough, but not that well. Before that final year in the KHL with SK St. Petersburg, went off the charts, nearly a point per game through the regular season, nearly a point per game in the playoffs, 14 and 16, and then jumps to the NHL and does the same thing with Vancouver. A bad Vancouver team, mind you. Is he the reason they're bad? It's not just him, but maybe he had something to do with it. All that to say, like, there's a lot to like here. Islanders would get a player who can score goals, and lots of them, right? So let's go back to that. We get Andrei Kuzmenko, who scores lots of goals, or has so far, nearly half off. We would retain 2.5 of his $5.5 million salary. So that gives us, $3 million? 5.5 minus 2.5? Exactly $3 million for what could be a 40-goal scorer. Now, he becomes a UFA after this year, which is yet another reason to be like, I don't know. Now, Lou Lamoriello hasn't had a hard time re-signing his UFAs because he chucks a bunch of cash and term and trade protection at them. So I'm sure we could lock it in if it goes well. The if is the only thing here. 28, he'd probably get 8 by however millions of dollars if it goes well. Beggars can't always be choosers. I have to reconcile with that because I would rather someone younger. So I might say probably not just because of the age. But again, beggars can't be choosers. And we are certainly beggars. We're looking for 40-goal scorers, and they don't just grow on trees. So I think the Islanders might say yes to this. They're not losing their first. They still have it. They move 8 spots back, but they still have one. They lose a second this year. We still have one. You lose maybe a third or second round the next year. That's fine. That's okay. I think the Islanders say yes to this trade. So let's put it back on screen one last time. I think the Islanders say yes to this trade. Now, do you say yes to this trade? So this was the first Who Says No segment. We're going to do a few more of these during the offseason and during the regular season. So sign up, follow along. Thank you if you have. Thank you if you followed along to begin with. Follow along on the Patreon. 2 podcasts, 2 week plus. Discord channel, all that stuff. Go to the Patreon link. Sign up today. Thank you.